So moving on, um, moving away from the simple ellipses into the next step. And we're going to be moving in relatively small, like baby steps for the first week, and then we'll get more complicated later. Um, so I'm trying to just think in terms of how do you before we even move on to shading, how do we think about the space or the objects that we're looking look like they exist in 3D space? So back to my cheap printer paper. So when we're drawing, we're doing this imaginary game that this is not a flat piece of paper. The imaginary game that we're playing is that this is like a clear piece of glass, and we're looking through the glass into a space, and in that space there's 3D objects. So even though, as we're drawing, our pencil just sits on this flat surface, we're constantly trying to pretend that it doesn't, that it moves around in 3D space. So, and that's the basic challenge of basic drawing. So here's a shape. So this is, I don't know, it's a balloon shape, an avocado shape, an egg shape. It's just a shape. The basic problem is, how do you get this to look like it's 3D? Because right now it just looks like an outline of a shape. So all you see is the edge, and when people are beginning drawing, they tend to obsess over the edge only. And how do you sort of move on from the edge? And so this exercise is to get you to move on from the edge. It's to how do you start to consider this? Like, what's going on in here? Like, is it flat? Is it round? Is there a dent in it? Does it have other shapes on top of it? Like, here's an example. Like a wireframe nose shape. That's supposed to be a nose, like a wireframe. I put cross contours on it. I mean, it looks like a Mr. Potato Head, but maybe it would look better this way, like a human head. You can put the nose off to the side, like that. I think that'll work. Sort of like that. It's probably too low. Maybe. And then, the mouth would go here, the eye sockets. And then the eye sockets would dent inwards, and then the mouth would kind of come in and out. The cheekbone would kind of come in. I mean, come out and then come in. So the idea being, like, how do you articulate shapes? Here's another shape. So it's like, does the shape overlap? Maybe it's an elephant nose. I don't know. Just a random shape. Does it go next to the shape? Does it go underneath and behind the shape? Like, how do things overlap? And then how do you then articulate the surface? There's a lot going on there. So let me remove this real quick. So here's a generic little teardrop shape. Boom, boom, boom. I should have made it bigger. So in here, the cross contours curve downwards, or the U shape. You can think of it like a U, or like a partial U. Here they go the opposite direction. So this makes all the difference in the world, like which direction the curve goes. Like here, I think it kind of looks like the point is maybe going towards you this way. Where here, I feel like it looks like the point is going away from you. Like this, it's tilting away. And if I show you, there's just like a wooden dowel stick with lines on it. So if I tilt this towards the camera, you can see it that it curves downward. And if I tilt it away, it curves in the opposite direction. Or if I keep it perfectly parallel, it just looks like it's straight. So the direction of the curve makes all the difference in the world. This way or this way. This way or this way. So I'm just going to draw some basic shapes. again with my mechanical pencil. You don't have to use mechanical pencil. It's easy for me to do this. I don't have to worry about sharpening it if it breaks. So simple little egg shapes. And I'm gonna try to do a cross contour. Now, the thing is, you don't, like, here's another one. You don't want to just touch the edge and then stop at the other edge. Sometimes it kind of helps to imagine that you're going around the whole shape. So maybe you can even imagine that you're maybe lighter in the back, and then as you come to the front, you darken it, and then you wrap around like it's a rubber band going around the shape. So I don't stop at the edge. I keep going around. I could have made it a complete ellipse, but so there's my ellipse. Like a rubber band wrapping around a little egg shape. So this one I'm going to do the opposite. How about, so I'm imagining that I'm starting behind and then I'm coming to the front. And this one doesn't curve as much, which makes it look like it tilts less. This one, the fact that it curves more makes it look like it's tilting more that way. All the way around. Okay, so two shapes. Now, I'm going to connect them with a cylinder shape. How about now, how did these two shapes interact? It could be that the cylinder kind of goes behind this, or it's in front of it. I'm going to make it look like it's in front. So I'm going to erase this. So I overlap. Put some cross contours over here. Maybe do an outside contour. Again, I'm imagining that I'm like a piece of string or like a rubber band, that I'm moving around the shape. And then this one can go in front, or it can go behind it. It can go any way, really. So I want you just to do kind of an experiment where you're playing around with basic shapes. You can think of circles, pears, egg shapes, snake-like shapes that sort of wrap around, and wrap around with a contour of an ellipse, and combine things. Like I could keep going. Like I could put another shape in front of this. Like I could be like, okay, and there's another circle shape in front of it here, and then I could erase that, and I could figure out what kind of cross contours that shape has. It's just kind of a game. I kind of think of it like I'm sort of taking pieces of clay and kind of clumping them together in like 3D form. So it isn't a flat object. It's a 3D form that I'm able to wrap around. I can go behind it and in front of it with my cross contour and just build things up. So let me get a new page. So you can literally just be like, okay, here's a clump of clay, here's another clump of clay, here's another little lump. And then, you know, this one goes behind it, and then it comes out over here. And then once you kind of just come up with some kind of blobs, then start to figure out, okay, now how do I articulate the surface of all these sort of like this crazy sort of lumps that I created. It's a way to sort of play around with 3D objects, even though this is all flat. It's almost like you're trying to force yourself to see this in 3D terms. So refer to the it's over here. Refer to the handout to get some ideas, and then I'm going to try to upload some more either videos or other images to help clarify what this is. And how about try to do about 4 pages in your sketchbook of just playing around with this, playing around with basic shapes and cross contours